the birthday girl. Hey.
Oh, good idea.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the True Life Podcast. It's Friday. It looks like we made it. We got a full house in here for you today. I hope the sun is shining, the birds singing, the wind is at your back. For those who may just be tuning in, what you're looking at right here is a handful of people who became international best-selling authors. And we're going to learn a little bit about the story, about what happens after you becoming a best-selling author, about what it means in your life, about relationships, and about collaboration. So as I just start off around the horn, there's so many wonderful people here. Maybe we could just take a moment to go around the horn and do a quick introduction. I'm going to start with Leslie. Leslie, would you be so kind as to introduce yourself to the people, please? Thank
Mute
you.
it, Crystal.
Great, I get to go first. My name is Leslie Mouton. I'm originally from Louisiana. I'm in Texas now. I was hooked up through a mutual friend, Jill Sullivan, with Lonnee to collaborate in volume 2 of the book of Rattled Awake series. So that's me, and I'm here.
Nice. Lisa Marree, I know you've not been feeling well, but maybe you could speak to the people a little quick bio about who you are and how you got started here.
Yes, thank you. Excuse me. My business, I'm a holistic business and leadership mentor, and it's 3 a.m. where I'm at, so please forgive me if I stumble on my words. It's been a big few weeks for me because my sister passed away because of her final attempt at suicide. I should say, literally 5 days before Lonnee invited me to be part of this book. So as my opening words were, tears were pouring onto the page as I was writing my chapter. So it was very raw. It was in the moment, just pouring out of my heart because I've had a pretty much 50 plus years of dealing with trauma. But my business world is I'm a medical scientist. I'm a neuro nerd. I'm in the quantum world. So I deal with women entrepreneurs. So I help my clients go from basically startup to building a 6-figure business by standing out confidently online. So here I am at 3 a.m. My hair's all messy and as confident as I could be. But when I'm in my high vibe, I'm all about energy. And that's about showing up truly and authentic as who you are. And using the power of energetics in attraction marketing. Literally, that's where you'll make the big money, big impact, and continue to grow and scale about that. So I just want to help people create their beautiful, unique, powerful message that is here to change the world. And I believe this book collaboration is this group of people right here. Our message is now timeless forever to help be able to change people for generations to come and to deal with whatever challenges life throws at them.
I love it. I love the idea of the high energy and making an impact. And it seems that there's all these sayings like many hands make light work, or when you think about a chorus, you think about voices singing in harmony. And there's something that resonates with people when there's many voices singing the same tune. And I guess that brings me over here to Dr. Turner with a wonderfully crocheted, beautiful hat on. How are you feeling today? And I was curious if you could give a little bit of background for us.
Oh, yes, I'm so excited to be here. In 2020, I was finishing my dissertation. Can everyone hear me okay? And Lonnee got it, that I was trying to find a way that dads could practice mindfulness in a nanosecond to notice what's happening with their children. And Lonnee really got it, breaking mindfulness down to, can you practice it with a rock? So I'm happy to be here with all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, the pleasure's all mine. I can't wait to learn more about it, which brings us to the wonderful Wendy Wiseman. What an alliteration that is. How are things going over there?
Yay! Putting more yay in every day and making the big Y. Arms up to the sky. Things are going. I'm growing through.
That's what it takes. That's what it takes.
Yes.
Next up, we have the birthday girl, Dr. Nhu. First off, happy birthday from all of us. How are you feeling? You looking beautiful and wise. How's the birthday treating you?
Beautiful on the cover, but I didn't have much sleep with kiddos being sick. But I'm so blessed, George, and everyone in this wonderful rooms with Gina, and I mean, you got two gentlemen swamped by all the wonderful ladies right here, right? There's no better way to celebrate a birthday, because you know it's been a few years, and it's a way to 3 years I haven't really celebrated a birthday, George, since my nephew passing. So it's something that it's a rude awakening for the mental health. So I am looking forward to, looking for the change in the world and making that impact and helping others to really realize we can lead with love and kindness and compassion and lift others up through our mindfulness. It starts with our mindset, our thoughts and words and actions. Everything that we do have an impact. So, whether we're across the world, whether we're in different industry, but we all one. So we are united and one lovely family right here. Is a testament of what collaborations and strength as a family right here.
I love it. I love the idea of the way in which we can all affect each other, and the idea that we're one. It's a wonderful way to see the world, I think. Gene, my brother, there's only two of us, my friend. I'm glad you're here. How's it going?
All right, there it goes. I couldn't get it to unmute. It's clearly Friday. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Hey.
Yeah, a little hectic for me this morning. Everything kind of got out of control, but yeah. So I'm in South Florida. It's a beautiful day today. This is the time of year that I love being here because it's no better weather. But yeah, I met Lonnee through, gosh, who was it? CJ. I think it was CJ that got me, and she said, "Oh, you're gonna love Lonnee," and I'm like, oh, "Okay." And right away, I was like, "All right, she's my kind of people. Sarcastic, funny, doesn't take things too seriously, and perfect. That's what I need." So, and pretty much everyone's the same. The whole group has been amazing. It's been a very entertaining thing, and it's interesting because we come from such diverse backgrounds, but there's definitely a connection in the mindset that we all have. And that's really something that I drive home. I work with workplace violence and active shooter stuff, and on the prevention side. And it really does come down to understanding the human psyche, understanding how important mindfulness is, appreciating what you have, and being compassionate to others that are struggling. And I think that's what we really got to focus on. So it's been a wonderful ride, and yeah, it's good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm super stoked you're here. I love the idea of behavior and workplace and being rattled awake. And I think it is part of the foundation that's uniting all of us here today. The Crystal Phoenix, there she is over there. How are you feeling?
I'm doing great. Happy birthday, Dr. Nhu. I'm so happy I got to tell you.
There you go. Crystal, I gave you the heart.
I saw that. Thank you. And I actually got my glasses to work. As long you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
My glasses are like a headpiece. My speakers are right here. So
That's cool.
yay. When tech works for me, yeah, it's amazing. So what I'm doing after is I'm writing my solo book, and I'm using the Voice Your Vibe Brian notebook for all my ideas and stuff. I thought I'd just throw that out there. But, I mean, talk about voicing my vibe, right? I'm writing my solo journey book to help others, since even my mother endorsed it, which is amazing, because she doesn't. So I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I'm dealing with family and everything, but I'm just stoked to be here on your birthday and, on a cold day. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Cold, but
Fantastic.
outside, but inside's warm.
Yeah. Michelle, how are you over there? You're coming in as the anchor. How are things with you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. I came in with a hat, and that's for Dr. Nhu, to wish her a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Dr. Nhu.
There's the heart for you, Michelle. You see the heart?
All the heart. I'm really so blessed, all these people, and to be able to be part of Rattled Awake has been a huge change in my life. I do believe this is new beginnings as well. When different steps and different levels hit us, there's new beginnings and transformations. And I do believe that we're all walking different paths. And I'm going to get pretty involved. I'd love to be an advocate for human trafficking. And I've been a little bit involved with bringing humanity together as well. So I've been a bit busy, but I'd love to be able to share with everyone as I progress. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you're doing a great job at it. Here's something that comes to my mind. I'm going to throw this to Lonnee to kind of begin the conversation, and that is, the world is changing rapidly. But not only is the world changing, but the rate of change is increasing. Lonnee, did you have any idea that starting what you're doing is kind of becoming a movement? When I see all the people here, I see branches of a stream that take us in different directions that allow us to feed other people in a way, the same way water does. And I'm curious if did you see this happening? I think that this is kind of a movement. When you say Rattled Awake, each one teach one. Everyone is going out and becoming a teacher, and there's change coming from the ground up. Is that what you had in mind when you first started this?
Well, say it forward has always been my thing, because I like to play on words from pay it forward. So say it forward, and if you know something, say something. Yeah. But as far as the movement itself, George, when the idea came in, this just in, it literally came in as Rattled Awake, a movement, and I was like, a movement of what? I didn't know. We just have to trust that what calls to us is for us, and figure it out as we go along, right? So I wasn't sure what that meant, but it kept falling out of my mouth. And I'm just so passionate about elevating voices in the way that I know how. And yeah, right, Wendy. And it used to be, as a podcast host, I've interviewed, so many people like you, George, just it's a way to elevate voices. But then when I couldn't type 65 words a minute anymore, it became obvious that it was time to show people that they could become their own guru, their own writer, and empower them in that regard. Not just as a story development content strategist person, but as a writing coach. And it shows up in the nicest way. And I'm seeing the results in the author's stories. Gene decided he's going to go write his own book, right? There's Wendy, the confidence. Chef Jill said the same thing. She's working on hers. Chris Freer, I'm pointing to the chat. You can see him there, right? Bless his heart. I learned in a podcast that, words still jiggle for him. Somehow he's getting through it, and he can't stop writing. So what happens, right? When we go out, we do something. It's like, wow, that's helping. That's motivational. That makes you want to keep doing it and keep the momentum going. And it's so exciting, right? I raised a roof. It's so exciting to see what can happen. And I had no idea what would happen, George. None.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me. Like, I think that's how behavior happens, and we can see, behavior seems to be contagious. And I think Gene can probably add to this, whether it's a violent behavior or whether it is sort of like a positive behavior. Change seems to be contagious. What do you think about that, Gene?
Absolutely. It's funny, in my line of work, when I was in law enforcement, I'd come across people in crisis all the time, and the way that I would respond to them, either forcefully or more of a compassionate side, would really be up to them 90% of the time. But if there was an opportunity for me just to listen, man, that would go so much farther. It would go so much farther, giving someone the chance to express what they're going through, and then working through that mindset really it's a big thing. And I think we've gotten away from that. I think that's one of the problems with social media. I think that we get so wrapped up in it that we're losing that personal connection, and it manifests into not only violence, but just poor relationships with other people, and lack of being able to be compassionate, no critical thinking. And it just, there's a lot of problems with it, but the mindset really is a big deal. And just, having a conversation, even if someone disagrees with you, you learn so much, so yeah. My 2 cents.
Yeah.
Real quick,
I agree. Leslie, you were talking about trust in the beginning of the conversation. And when you were mentioning about trust in the very beginning of the conversation, what do you think about what Chris is saying, and how has Rattled Awake influenced your ideas about working in a group, trust, and a message, a resonating message? What do you think?
For me, I mean, over the years, I've found something to my personal growth of actually seeking out people with different opinions, different backgrounds, diversities, because it challenges my views. And to do that, I've got to trust that it's going to be okay no matter what happens. I can hear what they're going to say, and it kind of break down my own walls of perception. It's gone so much. It's done so much for me. And these kind of groups are really where it's at. And it's amazing. Like I said, we're all very diverse. We come from such different backgrounds, but there's that common thread that if you're looking for, you find it between everybody, and you're like, you know what? We're really not that different. And again, that's what that's where all the value comes in. It's exposing yourself, being a little bit vulnerable. This was a tough thing to do. And I thought I was being vulnerable, but oh man, I'll tell you, I was almost, I don't cry. I'm a tough guy. I just never did. But I was almost in tears several times with hearing their stories, and just, I'd had to fight back the feelings that I had. And it was a new thing for me. It was very, it was a good growth experience for me. So yeah, there is a lot of trust, but these groups are, especially this group, is phenomenal. And again, we got Miss Lonnee right there starting the whole thing. She had no idea what she was doing, but look where she is. Look what you've done.
That's so true. Leslie, what do you think about trust? Leslie, what do you think about trust? I know that writing this, you've had some different ideas.
Yes. Trust. It's big.
It's a big topic right there.
It's big. I think not only trusting, of course, Lonnee and Jill Sullivan that invited me to say, hey, yes, this is a good thing. It's for a good reason. But once I kind of got into it and started writing, it was actually about trusting myself on a few things, trusting myself that I thought my story was going to be this, but my story ended up being this. And I had to really trust myself that it was okay to share it. And that trust honestly did me more. I'm trying to say, can't even say the words right. I have to worry about my English. I think it was more about telling my story and how it healed me. It did. It healed me. And at the end, I was kind of like, okay, well, this helped me. I kind of learned to trust a little more compared to things that had happened in the past. That opened that up, but it also opens up for the ability for me to heal on a subject that I didn't realize I needed to heal from. And then I'm hoping, not that I hope someone goes through the same things I did, but I'm hoping if they did and they read that they could kind of have that same trust of opening up to someone, anyone, anywhere, and to get help if they need to get help, or just to share their story, because that in itself was healing for me.
Yeah, I love that. I think that there's something that happens. Lisa, I'm looking at you over here. Is there something like, I think so many people share this idea that when you write out your story, it's you coming to like the last page of telling yourself your story. I don't know if that kind of makes sense. Like when you go through a trauma, sort of the last way of dealing with it is getting it down on paper so that you can see it in a third person perspective. There's something cathartic about that. And with your sister being so, like your tragedy happening so close and the life that you've lived so far, how did you feel about finishing this story, getting it on paper? Was there a change that happened inside of you once you finished writing it?
Wow, just had a rush of emotion. I think I've spent many years rotting out my traumas, because it is part of of just unloading the heaviness on your heart with all of it. And I guess it makes it really final as well. And so it's not only allowing you to let go, but it's also helping you close the door, because there's so many different stages of healing. And it was divine timing is all I can say. And you know, I've been a friend of Lonnie's now for over a year, and I have been trying to write my own book, and things have just been getting in the way. And I truly believe it, because I was waiting for this moment in time. And in a connected way to my sister, I actually knew she was going to die this year. I just didn't know when. And so it was, everything just comes to that moment where it's almost like, I'm going to use the word divine timing again. It was all just meant to be. Like I hadn't actually physically seen her for about 5 years, and I'd had very limited contact with her because she'd spiraled into so many different levels of unwellness, physically and emotionally. And her body had just expired of being on this planet. Her family, her children, her 3 children had not been in close contact for quite a while. I said something very interesting to my daughter the other day, that in living, she actually kept us all separated, but in her death, we've actually all come together and become very, very close just in these past few weeks.
Wow.
And no one had been together for a number of years. And at that moment, she overdosed on the Saturday. She was found on the Monday, still alive. Literally from the time I got the phone call to having to drive 100 kilometers to her ICU bedside, we were there, her 3 children and me, who were literally the last most important people in her life. And within literally 30 minutes of me being, we all asked her to go, and she took her last breath in front of us. And so I like I said, everything is about energy, and the universe will conspire to make sure that it will deliver what you're ready for. And I think especially this group of people here in front of us, who are all extraordinary beings, who have an incredible gift to share with the world through their story. You know, as I said to Lonnee while we were waiting for the book to get published, I said, the purpose of this is to impact, even if we help change one person's life, that one person can turn into a Tony Robbins, for example, and impact millions and millions of people. So story is so powerful. and to be able to share my rawness and my vulnerability in that moment, for me was an extraordinary gift.
Can I just
So
say that Lisa did this? You want to talk about intention after all that she'd been through. She wrote her chapter and had it to me in a day. Took a second look at it a week later and was done. This is clarity of focus and intention and action, and she just knew, and she didn't drag the reader through trauma. She managed to focus it on other people. But that's extraordinary. I want to acknowledge you for that, given all that you've been through, this whirlwind for a while, and how you just came out. You just said, right, I'll be right back with that, and you were, and it I was just like, wow, see, that's what it can be done. Because I just wanted to point you out as the poster child for possibility manifested, because some people are like, oh, a chapter in a weekend, that she had it done in a day.
It was actually 2 hours. Just to lighten the moment.
Amazing. And I'm not saying everybody should be that way. I'm just saying that's incredible, and that's what intention can do. And yes. Yeah, amazing, Lisa. That was incredible.
With everything you had going on, you have my love and admiration, honey.
Right?
Good job.
Amazing.
And hold on to your family. If your sister passing brought you guys together, hold on to it tight.
Yes,
absolutely. Because a lot of times death just tears people apart instead of bringing them together. So I think that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that was intentional as well. So, I keep coming back to this point of energy.
Mm-hmm.
When we actually have an awareness around that, the bigness of it, and when you tune into that, Lonnee is so tuned into energy, and that's how she can actually have a book written over a weekend in 3 workshops. It's extraordinary. And intention, awareness, and then allowing yourself that space to, you have to literally block everything out and just be with yourself and just listen to your inner guidance and have a pen in your hand and paper in front of you and just be in that moment. And when you start writing, and all the people here will probably agree, once you were in flow, and it just kept coming and coming and coming. And so that literally is the miracle of how extraordinary things happen in the world. And I am just so grateful. And I believe that this movement is going to really have a ripple effect. And I'm so excited for what's going to come out of, the anthology volume 20 is how big's that one going to be? So thank you.
Yeah. It's amazing to me to think about the way in which intention coupled with awareness can really change the way you model reality. And I'm reminded of Dr. Nhu's story, where she's constantly being mindful of all these things that on some level are breaking down around her, but she still finds the peace and the calmness to act out in a way. Dr. Nhu, how did you do that? What have you learned since writing this book about your story and yourself? And what have you become aware of? Anything else that you weren't aware of prior to writing?
I think really the common thing that come out of is not only finding your purpose and kind of dig down in your inner self, really look down and questions your belief, whether you believe in God, Buddha, or whatever, your higher divine. But when you have a higher than yourself and you questions what is the meaning of it, the rationale of the what is the meaning behind all the things that you're going through, not because why it's happening to you. What is the message, right? We're trying to find the message, and what is the next step that you have to take. And I think that being the gratitude has always been always in my heart. you know, it's practice gratitude. When you lead with gratitude, it becomes your heart and soul. You see much bigger things that are much more worse than you. So things that are happening in your life, it's become less significant. I mean, I'm not saying that it is not significant for each individual, but that's how it led my courage to move on, right? To see that if you look up, then you're nobody. If you compare to others that are much more successful, or like Tony Robbins or others who are ahead of us, right? But if you've seen people who are struggling, who can't even get out of the darkness, right? Can't even get out of that box. How do you show up to lead and help others? How do you provide a solution in the chaos versus being, what's going on in all this mess? Are you the solution, or are you being a part of a problem that are feeding this vicious cycle? So that's always been something that I think, being when you hit with challenges, it's either you submerge and being the negative, or you have to find solution. Find the solution for others. Find innovation. Find things that will help others. Lead with that, what you've gone through, and share those moments, because sometimes when we're in the silo that works for us, we don't share it. Others don't know. We think that's obvious what everybody's gone through. But if we don't talk about it, they don't know those are the tools, right? And it's a common theme when we're talking about this. There are common themes that all of us have gone through. And so how about we share that message and empower others, empowers our next generations, empower those who are suffering right now, that there are hopes. There are, people that are here for them.
Yeah, there's something to be said about the way we've communicated for so long, and especially with social media. Some of it seems so superficial of, look what I'm eating, or look how great I'm doing. And it's just this one-dimensional view, and it creates this reality that is not reality, even though it appears to be reality, if that makes sense. Dr. Turner, this idea of being vulnerable and showing people what you're actually going through seems to be a catalyst that can propel people to the next level. What do you think about this idea of being aware and being vulnerable amidst all the things that you've been going through? Dr. Turner, did you hear that? I'm sorry about that. I was throwing that one over to you.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just curious.
Yes, I
to
thought
what you
so.
think. Yeah.
Being vulnerable and aware, you were saying.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. It is, especially in this society, it seems to be a very difficult thing to do. And being aware, and if we just take one moment to stop, and that's all it takes to be mindful. And once we do that, we can be with other people.
Yeah, I couldn't agree anymore.
So that's all
I think it's that. I think we're having some slight muting problems over there on your mic. But Wendy, I saw you over there, and I know in your chapter when you wrote about some of the life, like you kept hustling and the world kept throwing you these curveballs. What do you think about the idea of having the courage to be vulnerable and tell your story? How has that changed the way you see the world?
Well, I show up in vulnerability all through this. I've been on LinkedIn, and people have thanked me for being there crying and in the hardship. And it's so important. I mean, you see right here the thread of mindfulness and tuning in, and what Dr. Michaela was just talking about brought to mind Kim's story and her pause. Pause the gremlins and the. Yeah. Even this week, I've been having depression kind of claw at me for various things. And you have to train yourself to do that, to pause and be like, to reflect and to earlier in Taming Your Tension today, I was talking about the power of the clouds, reminding us that this too shall pass, and nature as, clear evidence that there's, blossoming and flowering and decay. Also, that it's all part of the process of growing through life. And the things that don't kill us, don't always make us stronger, but they definitely make us more resilient and hopefully a little bit wiser, hopefully a little more capable of what comes next, because you never know what's coming next, right? And I think these stories are clear evidence of that, and encouraging others, as we've been saying, leading by example, leading with vulnerability, leading with just the beauty of sharing our stories and being here together with one another to grow.
Yeah. I love it. I'm curious Lonnee, I wanted to ask you this question. Have you noticed that there are certain things that unite everybody that's been participating in this series? Or is it like, does everybody have like their own unique thing about them? Or is there something that adds them together? Or
yeah, they're all still
what do
fog
you
in a
see
mirror.
that's similar but different about people? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We're all still standing like the punching bag. We are, right? I'm glad I made you laugh, birthday girl. There is a similarity, and that's what's unique about this anthology, George, as is the framing of the last 5 years. We've all been through stuff to get this far. Okay, we have, but it's over the last 5 years, something significant that happened because our world has, I don't know, pivoted 3 times on its axis, and it sets up a unique shock value. Oh, shook again. Wait, hold on. There's another one, and it's saying, it's stuff that all of us can go. Yep, I was shook a number of times. I feel like a martini, just shaking, and I'm stirred at the same time, and I'm extra dirty too. Extra dirty martinis are my favorite. Hey, how we doing? And what we found is we find each other, and Dr. Nhu writes about this beautifully in her chapter about how you just Batman light out, put that out there, and magnetize to you the people that have the same intention to share something that is significant, a legacy message. Food. Hey, what's going on with our food, man? Y'all should know. What is your Rattled Awake moment? What are you passionate about? What lights you up? And it's not necessarily the typical, say, hero's journey. That's a long-winded story. It's not a chapter. But they are all achievers in the regard of going, that didn't work. Let's see what will. And pivoting and being able to pivot, to adjust, to adapt, and then say, oh, okay, it's like that, huh? What's next? And who gets this? Who else gets this? That's what brings all these people together. That's the thread. Is that no matter what the variance is on the story, it's the storyteller that has the mission and the message. And that's why everybody is just so, God, I love you. I love you. I love all of you. We do. Jean, you're not smiling. I know you love us.
I'd like to kind of chime in on both Dr. Nhu and on Lonnie's what she said.
Girl. Go on.
Because it's true. Lonnee finally said we're all alive, we're all standing, but that's not what kept us all together. We all have this like one goal in mind. We want to make the world a better place, and we want to do it by sharing personal stories and letting people know, hey, you're not alone. We understand, we're there, and that's what kind of ties us all together. In my opinion, we all have that common goal of, hey, let's be kinder. Let's, open that door for the elderly lady going into the store before you, or, say hi to the person behind you in line that looks like they might be having a bad day. Smile. It's the smallest thing. It's the whole butterfly effect, in a sense. The butterfly flaps its wings over here in the U.S., and it can create a hurricane by the time it gets, but it's just a huge change. And it all starts with just one person.
That's it. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I wanted to say with Dr. Nhu, too. It's like we all just want to make a better world, and we all mesh well together because we have that same vibe. We've all been through some hell, but we're not dwelling on it. We're not, I mean, heck, you just lost your sister, Lisa, and you bounced in and rocked it out, you know, because you wanted your story heard. So that's just some motivation right there to change the world for better, so that people don't feel alone and desperate and take desperate measures. And to me, that's what Rattled Awake is, letting people know, hey, you're not alone. We're here. Reach out.
I love the idea of meaning. You know, it seems to me, I once heard a quote that said something along the lines of, you can't control what happens to you in your life, but you and you alone get to control the meaning of that event. And I'm just wondering, Dr. Michaela, what do you think is the relationship between storytelling and meaning?
Oh, it's all about stories and meaning. Logotherapy, the psychology of meaning, that Viktor Frankl in World War II really helped his concentration camp peers get through it, because it is meaning that directs our lives. And taking that moment for mindfulness, just stopping. You see how fast that is. You just stop and become aware, and the mindfulness helps us give empowering meaning to our lives and thus the world.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up Viktor Frankl, especially in the time in which we find ourselves now. You know, we all are men and women searching for meaning, and you can find it. And when I read this anthology of Rattled Awake, it seems to me that that's one thing we all have in common, is that we have decided to decide what the meaning is for us. Out of all these tragic events, out of all this way in which life is testing us, each one of us has found meaning. But not only meaning, but like a powerful meaning to harness and bring a catalyst to change our lives. Who wants to take that and run with that? What's meaning in your life and how this anthology and storytelling has changed it? Who wants to run with that?
I can go.
Okay, let's hear. Yeah.
So to reflect on one aspect, as far as just the change in the industry, right? I'm a healthcare provider, but I see the lack of humanity, right? They're in it for just the money, right? They're wearing the mask, right? Whether really the end of the day is about patients care and patient safety. But when you look at it on a treating a patient, whether a provider perspective or is it the system, but it's not treating a person just appeal for an ill, or like you see so many diagnoses or surgery that are wrong parts, wrong persons, right? Because of why? It's in that push of gotta get that numbers, that quotas, that that metrics, and you're not having that moment of pause and double check on seeing, is this the right patient? Are you having someone to double check the check and balance? The system is placed in there, but there's the human ego and greed will always bypass those check and balance. It's set up for us, but we're not really doing it, right? Or people who supposedly say it's doing it, but they're not doing it. So many strikes are out in the hospital setting, in the retail, in the industry like CVS, Walgreens, and you talk about Kaiser and different. In the past, it's like it's so hush hush. It's either you don't talk about it because you're afraid of the system is much bigger than you, but you have to speak up. If you're in it and you see the wrong, I urge people to either step away and not be a part of it and find something that aligns with your value, your vision, your purpose. Because at the end of the day, you contributing to a collective karma. That system is putting on, and you agree to go with the flow when you know that's not ethically right. That's causing harm for the patient. If you're not doing it right, and it's just getting back to, it's a awakening call. It's like an urge, because people lose that humanity, that treating one another in a workplace that cause toxic environment, that to the point that people want to commit suicide. Why is that so? So mental health is so important. Well-being is it's but treating one another like your brother and sister, like your mother, your father. If you were to be seeing that person as a patient, as your family member, would you treat the same way? Don't treat anybody with special treatment versus someone who whether pay out of pocket or Medicare or Medicaid, right? There's got to be that compassion going back to your why. Why are you in this profession for a reason? No matter if you're in a healthcare, whether you're in a, like a police, a SWAT team. I've gone through my trauma that I'm so grateful for all those members of our community that are supporting, right? But we have to really question, are you in it for the right reason? Because when you're not aligned, that's where you just let the system, you put on blames on the system. No, you have to take in charge. You got to take the power back. You have to be the voice. When we don't, then we're just okay with the system saying, okay, I agree with you. Even if I don't, I'm just going to not say anything, right? So I think that's where I feel like we have to be the change. Don't just wait for the system to change. We have to be the change and rally together.
Well, Dr. Nhu makes a very great point, and that is we are run by undistinguished meaning. And once we distinguish it, like she was saying, then we can make powerful choices.
Well, I'm going to take this opportunity at the pregnant pause to jump in and tell you something, guys, about meaning. Back when I first became acquainted with the amazing Dr. Turner, she was like, "What's your wrist trying to tell you?" And I was like, "I don't hear a freaking thing. It's really inconvenient, though." She's like, "What's your wrist trying to tell you?" I said, "I don't know. Will you stop asking me that? It doesn't talk." So we're looking for meaning in accidents. We're looking for meaning in choices that we made that we're clearly, why did I do that? Right. Well, it turns out that Rattled Awake probably wouldn't be a thing if it didn't happen. So we can make meaning out of that if we want to. I think what we get to do is we get to choose what has meaning and what the meaning is. And it's just a story we tell ourselves. And she did a past life thing, and it turns out I was carrying a ball and chain around for a lot of lifetimes. If it's true, great. I can let that go now. It's a story though. But everybody could decide to go, you know what? Let's just unlock that, throw that out, buy with the guilt, self-punishment, self-loathing, let it go. And then we can move on. Again, it's a story, but it may be true. It may be what my wrist was trying to tell me. It just didn't have all those words. She does. Like it's crazy. A pencil fell off the table. What does it mean?
Company's coming.
A cow is sacred in America. It's lunch. It's still a cow. What do you want things to mean? We are meaning-making machines. Ultimately, when I look at authors, George, and you guys to be in the book, it's, are you standing behind it? Are you standing on top of your story? Have you been able to look back and go, yep, I'm through the clouds. I'm standing on my story, not in it. And even though you might still be going through it, you've mined a gem from the coal mine. And found a way to broadcast that in a way that is useful to the other person that might be reading your story. Like Lisa said, that person, if you didn't do your story, could have been, may have been, might have been, could have been, should have been, maybe, the next Tony Robbins, but you didn't say anything. So say it forward, write it down, share it. It's really, really important. What you decide to make it mean is only everything.
Yeah. The story you tell yourself inside your head becomes the story that people see. And so many people suffer from this inner dialogue that's this negative feedback. I'm not good enough. I have to work here. I hate this, but I'm going to do it because I got to pay my bills. But when you start saying things like, you know what? Not anymore. I'm done with that. You know what? I'm going to be the guy that people come to when there's a problem. I'm going to be the guy that goes out there and talks to my neighbors. I'm going to be that. All of a sudden, here's an interesting way to think about it. Think about yourself as being a character in the novel. And your job is to get the attention of the author. So the author starts writing you bigger parts. You can become the best story possible. You can become Homer in the Iliad and the Odyssey, or whatever character you can think of, you could become that. all you have to do is start believing that you're that person, and the story will unfold in front of you. And all of a sudden, these other characters will show up and be part of your story, and it will be an inspiring story. And like that's what I see happening in this Rattled Awake. The whole anthology is all these main characters coming out and be like, hey, I'm going to write my own story now. It's like everyone has their own spin-off, and they're becoming this main character. And in doing so, they're creating this gravity around them. You know, there was a guy that saw an apple drop, and it changed the world. You know, we based the whole world on this guy seeing an apple drop. And hey, that must be gravity right there, you know, but we can all do it. Every one of us is a genius. Genius surrounds us. I think Gene has something to say. What do you think, Gene?
I kind of feel like we're talking about my story.
And Georgie.
All of ours.
I mean, you guys pretty much just repeated what I wrote about. So that was exactly it. That you know, the attitude changing moment and realizing that, you know, you as an individual can have just a tremendous impact if your attitude changes and you stop making excuses, you stop blaming everybody for your situation, because even if you think you can't change your situation, you can. And if you're persistent enough, there's nothing that can stop you. And that does have that ripple effect. That does have such an amazing change, not just for yourself, but for everybody around you. I mean, it's far reaching and yeah, I mean, literally everyone just was talking about my story. It felt like I was like, oh my God, because that's really what I wrote about. It was about that. Hey, I blame my work. I blame how people treated me. I blamed, and something happened, and it did rattle me awake. And I was like, wait a second, I'm actually the problem. I'm not the solution, and that's not like me. I've never been like that. How did I fall into the hole that I fell into? And once I realized that, my world changed, and that's my story is about. So that's what I was talking about. Absolutely, it's huge. Yeah,
I love it. I think it's all of our stories.
It is.
Doesn't matter
Yeah,
who
it is.
you are, yeah.
And it's funny because I was thinking, I'm going to think it's all that they're talking about my story, but everyone's probably thinking the exact same thing. Because that's what the book is. That moment that realization of something that's changed within us, that we see our own fault and how it's impacted us, and how we can go forward and not let that impact us, and how we can take that energy and put it towards the right direction. And yeah, it really is everyone's story. But I did personalize it very much, because some things I was like, that's very much my whole story.
Having been growing up in the area that you work and everything, I do understand what you mean, though, because so many people give the cops, especially down there, such attitude. And you being on task force, big hugs and support for surviving in down in South Florida.
Thank you.
You know, so big support, and thank you for all the work you've done.
Leslie, I know you wanted to throw something in on this too. Gene, you're a rock star.
I did. I was listening to both of you, but when Gene was talking, it was something that's kind of like come to light for me, I believe. So when I wrote my story, I said I didn't know what it was going to be, and what it came out to be was, very healing for me, because I didn't realize I had the problem that I had. Right? I just thought it was everyday life, and it was a problem. I had a problem. I still have a problem. This writing of this chapter, every time that problem creeps back up, I think about those words that I put on the page. Wow. And it's kind of like holding me accountable to myself, and to think that I can't let that problem overtake me again, because what kind of liar or loser, or however I want to look at it, would I be? Once I wrote this truth that slapped me in the face and helped to change me. I can't let it creep back in, and hopefully that helps others to be accountable also, because it's a daily struggle. And so when Gene was talking about all that, that's what that's really been coming back to me of when I'm having problems. I think about the book and what I wrote. I do. And then all the people that wrote with me also, because I kind of feel like if I went back to that after writing and healing from it, then I'm not only letting myself down, then I'm letting the other authors down and the people that are reading it also.
I'd love to chime in there, Leslie. And I think what keeps coming into my head, because I love reading, and Jack Canfield's The Success Principles is popping into my head. And the first principle is take 100% responsibility for your life. And he has a formula of event plus response equals outcome. So you can't change the event, but you can definitely change your response, which is going to change the outcome. And so I think if we constantly look at that, and it comes back to mindfulness, awareness, being in the moment, stopping, all of these things, that it's up to us to change our response to whatever happens in life. And therefore, it will completely change the trajectory of where you're going, or keep you spiraling down into that big, slippery, messy hole. So just thought I'd share that.
You know, I found that by following my passions and living my messages of carrying legacies, it just, because you're coming from authenticity, you feel it in your heart that you can share it with others, and they actually lean in and they can understand where you're coming from. And by doing the Rattled Awake, I know I've been through quite a bit of all sorts of things in my life, and being shocked with big surprises, which are not even in my control. And by that, and pausing from time to time, and then also when you reach your 50s, oh my hat, big time. You start feeling the urgency. You feel the urgency, and it's like crazy, because you've got something with stuff, and your heart takes over, and you just want to embrace it and help others, because you've just been through such a journey that you know that there is so much to share and to help others with, and to help motivate them. And this Rattled Awake really woke me up, and it's changed my life. It's helped me focus. Lonnie's been brilliant, Lonnee, in helping me focus, because of all the things. When I had to rewrite my story a few times. And the first time it was everything. And it's amazing. It's like you want to throw up all the stuff. And then all of a sudden you start focusing and realizing 5 years back was the real wake-up period in my life. And I never thought about it like that, ever. And it's just so amazing to have that clarification and that clear picture going forward. And knowing that you've gone through all these steps in your life to be where you are today. And it's not for nothing. It's not for nothing. And in the last year, I transitioned my life from a 30-year career, which I was not interested in at all, but it taught me a lot of tools, and it's helped me combine what my art is, and doing design and by hand. I combine the two, but now I carry it through with my heart and expression. And it's just so much more powerful with the history that you carry as well. And you're not always liked.
Nope.
I'm not liked very much by going through my transition, because it's not what they want. They want to put me in their boxes. And that's not okay for me, because this is my life. And I've got something out there that I need to share with others, and to carry legacies for what was important in my life, not theirs. And at the end of the day, that's what's important, your message that you carry through to others. And as long as you can stay true within, that's all that counts. So Sure.
You feel better? George, I'm looking at the title. So you wrote a bestseller. Now what? What we're hearing here are the personal transformations of people that decided to help other people transform and transmute their world, and it's just been remarkable to see their individual pow 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 and aha moments and manifesting, and magic is showing up, and people are just saying, "Hey, you did that? I got a door that's open right over here," which might not have been before. And there, I think the power in writing a chapter, and Crystal, could you nod any bigger, right? Honestly, so much is happening as a result, just simply from confidently knowing or learning confidence that they can know that they know what they know. And what that manifests in a vibrational change on a cellular level, that's another topic. But right. But everybody understands that they are transformed as a result of wanting to be of service. Look at Nhu with the hearts. Thanks, birthday girl. It's so cool. It's so cool to see what's happening for the people, because the book is a platform upon which one can then go doink doink. Where do I want to go? And that's where most of you have been basically grilled and drilled. Where do you want this to go? What's your end point? What let's begin with the end in mind. What do you want? And I'll help you get there. But the chapter, to point people to your front door so that you can use it as the platform that a book is intended to be. And it's a starting point. So the end is actually the beginning. And everybody's done such a beautiful job of pouring out their heart on paper and then letting that be enough. It doesn't necessarily, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a ticket punching moment, but it can show up later in great and wonderful ways. Just because the intention was, I'm going to do this. Now let's see what happens. And magic can unfold when you say yes to yourself. And that's what they've all done.
I love it. I love it. I think that I feel like we just scratched the surface. Like, there's so many wonderful people here, and I feel so thankful to get to play a small part in this part. And I know that we all have this collective respect and love for each other, and the messages being put out there. And I think that we have shared sacrifice and shared goals. That being said, our wonderful friend Wendy has a show coming up that I'm sure I'll see you all at momentarily. And so I want to be gracious with everybody's time.
Wendy.
So before I go, let me just go around the horn one more time and allow the listeners to understand where they can find you. And I will start with my good friend Leslie. Leslie, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you before we sign off?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Leslie Mouton. I am actually an integrative health coach. So if anyone knows of anyone that needs some help, you can point them in my direction. But you can find me on Facebook also and Instagram.
Fantastic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Lisa Marree.
I'm sorry. The Instagram and Facebook, I am so sorry. It would be under Lotus Holistic Solutions. Thank you.
I love that name.
It is. It's beautiful.
Lisa Marree, thank you for your time. I know it's been early over there. Where can people find you if they want to reach out and learn how to be more impactful?
Either on the balcony in the sun.
Thank you.
In Australia.
Well, the sun's almost up. It's 4 a.m. here. And we're moving into our summer, which is lovely. So I am found on LinkedIn under my name. Now, my first name is Lisa. My surname is Marree. People think it's a hyphenated name, but Marree has 2 R's and 2 E's. So Lisa, MARREE. .com also is my website. I'm on Facebook and Instagram under the same name. And I am a holistic business and leadership mentor and coach. And I will help you stand out so confidently online that you will be magnetic to your dream clients and help change the world. Thank you.
Yay.
I love it.
Yay.
Gene, where can people find you if they want to hear more about your story and the way you see the world?
LinkedIn. It's probably the best way. I'm kind of all over the place, but LinkedIn is probably the easiest to find me at Gene Petrino. Yeah, that's where I'm at. You find me here quite frequently. Seem to be doing a lot of lives lately. Thanks, Lonnee.
You're welcome, bro. It's all about marketing.
Crystal, what if people are looking to find some information from you? Where can they find you at?
They can find me on LinkedIn or phoenixcoach.net, which is my personal website, or Facebook. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Wendy, people are looking, if people want to find some direction and they really resonate with your story, where can they find you at?
Who are they talking to?
For a minute.
I was talking to Wendy, but I think her mic was muted there. Yes.
Yeah, I cut out a little bit because I'm also live with a holding page for Dr. Nhu's birthday show. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. You can find me at tamingyourtension.com. Taming Your Tension, happier, healthier humans.com. Creating a better world together we are when we choose to be happier, healthier humans.
Fantastic, Dr. Michaela. If people want to learn more about logotherapy or some of the things that you're up to in your story, where can they find you?
You can find me at LinkedIn, Dr. Michaela, and my YouTube channel, The Joga Yoga Files.
Love it.
Nice.
Love it. Dr. Nhu, where can people find you if they're looking to find some of your pearls of wisdom?
Well, I just want to say thank you, and always blessed to be in this amazing room. And thank you, George. And they can find me at on LinkedIn with Dr. Nhu Truong. And just remember that we're all one and we're connected for a reason. So find your like-minded tribe and connect with those who you align, and they'll raise you up higher and shine so bright that others will be blind and need to wear sunglasses. But stay true to yourself and be authentic you. You are a gem out there. So don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
I love it.
Love you all.
Lonnee, final words?
Yeah.
Okay.
Be a goofball. Dr. Nhu, future's so bright, I gotta wear shades.
Yeah.
Let's bring the sunshine on, yo. Just here to elevate voices and people to their next level.
Happy birthday. We love you.
You can find the next workshop, right, Wendy? The next workshop is November 17th, and it's you can get details on official rattledawake.com.
Let's go.
Okay. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. I hope the weekend treats you well. And thank you to every single person that was here. That's all we got. And I'll see everybody shortly. Aloha.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.